Here we are, top 50 albums of the year. My personal list, of course, you know, is my opinion. You know what, fuck it. If you disagree with my list, if you have a problem with any of my picks, feel free to just, you know, threaten me. In the comments, threaten to murder me, please. Just get pissed. Like, don't even hold back. Like, threaten my family, just go crazy. Just completely go unnecessarily insane. Like, don't even consider the fact that maybe it's just my opinion. Now, treat this as if I'm saying it's the objective truth and just go fucking crazy, please. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the list. I'm gonna start it in just 1 minute. There's one thing I want to mention. It's a top 50, but however, I kind of stretched it, but I could have done a top 40, honestly, because only 37 of these albums are 8 out of 10. So the first 13 picks are just like really high 7 out of 10. Just thought that's worth mentioning, you know. So yeah, the first 13 are just going to be the highest of the 7s I gave out this year, I guess. Kicking things off at number motherfucking 50. I have a beautiful, elegant pop album, Lord. Melodrama. Number 49 is a very bouncy, replayable, fun rap album with a bit of jazzy, electronic R&B stuff in there. Smino, Black Swan. Number 48 is a little bit more experimental. It's a rap album. It's pretty weird, but it's pretty fucking cool at the same time. Mike with May God Bless Your Hustle. Unfortunately, this album is a little bit hard to access. It's not like on Spotify or anything. I had to buy it on Bandcamp. I think you can get it on SoundCloud too. So that's kind of annoying, but it is, if you're a fan of like off-kilter weird rap, this should be up your alley. The beats on this thing are pretty bizarre. Number 47 is Always with Anti-Socialite. Super catchy Jangle Dream Pop album. Number 46, yeah, it's one of the hardest fucking tapes of the year. Total slappers front to back. From my current favorite SoundCloud rapper, Wi-Fi's Funeral, Boy Who Cried Wolf. Number 45. I actually just listened to this like the other day. I listened to this like about a week ago, and I have not put it down since I checked it out. Because I just kind of dismissed it at first, like, oh, it's these guys again with another album, whatever. King Gizzard with their newest album, Polygon Dwanaland. I was just like, oh, here they are back again. It's probably just going to be some average King Gizzard. I saw some mixed reactions, but I just went on a walk at like nighttime, and I just saw it in my library. I was like, you know, fuck it, let me just play it. And I loved it! It was fucking tight. It was really cool. You know, some of their best grooves yet. Some of the most creative production to date. Really progressive stuff. It is more like a progressive rock album from them. And yeah, I've had it on loop ever since I heard it. It's pretty awesome. Probably my favorite of the albums they dropped this year. They dropped like 4 albums this year. Maybe 5. We've got like a day left in the year, so... And at number 44, I have Arca with his self-titled album. One of the most mesmerizing and powerful art pop releases I've heard in recent years. Is pretty fucking dope. Number 43, got Foxygen with their very theatrical and grand and fun Hang. Very short album, kind of wish it was a little bit longer, but it is a ton of fun. It sounds like it's broadcasting or like soundtracking some like super elaborate Broadway play, like it's on some La La Land shit, and it's fun as hell, super catchy. I enjoy it. And number 42, this might piss some people off, but I give not one fuck. Jaden Smith Sire. I love the production. He's not a bad rapper when it comes to flow and shit. Lyrically, it's a little cringy. I don't give a fuck, though, because this shit is fun. Number 41, though, it is j.i.d with the Never Story. A really cool debut. I'm looking forward to seeing where his career pans out into the future. Some pretty interesting beats here as well, and his flow is immaculate. Where are we at? Number 40? Yes, Remo Drive with Greatest Hits. One of the best emo releases this year. Some really solid emo music, and very heavily Pinkerton inspired, which is one of my favorite albums of all time, so that's in no way a problem. Number 39 is FKJ with French Kiwi Juice, one of the most just beautifully produced electronic / jazz albums of the year. It's not, I mean, it's like, it has jazz influence, it's very bouncy, it's super fun. This guy's production is just gorgeous. And his voice isn't too bad either. Number 38, this is the last 7 out of 10 album. This is the highest 7 of the year for me. All of the 7 out of 10s, I got the most replay value out of this one. This one was just the most fun. This was the closest to an 8 this year. Paramore, After Laughter. Fucking awesome pop album. It's stupidly catchy, and it has some of the most infectious grooves of the year. I had no clue Paramore were capable of this. I really hope they continue pursuing this sound in the future as opposed to that really corny, angsty, like, pop punk shit. No, I like this, like, full-on pop Paramore. This is 100% my bad. Yeah, that's it. Moving on to number 37, I have Wiki with No Mountains in Manhattan. A pretty awesome, eclectic, fun rap release. Number 36, it is an album no one fucking knows. I didn't review this album or anything. I just checked it out like a month ago, and I was just completely hypnotized by it. Bala with Imprints. This is a contemporary jazz release that is heavily influenced and inspired by Jewish and Hebrew folklore, and that's kind of culture, and that sort of plays into their jazzy sound. It's a really interesting album. I thought it was really mesmerizing.
Hi, Joe.
What's up? I'm recording my top 50 albums of the year video, so yeah.
Joji's EP better be number 1, or I'll fucking destroy you.
Yeah, 37 is Ballad Imprints, really interesting jazz album. Number 36, it is... Oh, that was 36. Fuck. 35 is a shoegaze album, my favorite shoegaze album this year, Ariel, Molten Young Lovers. Beautiful instrumentation here. The vocals are really vulnerable and powerful and lovely, even though at times they're a little bit monotone, but I still think it comes off very human. Number 34, I have Japanese Breakfast. Shout out to Ryan for putting me onto this greatness. What am I doing? Am I calling someone? Oh, fuck, I'm calling my mom. Yeah, Ryan, you put me onto this shit. I actually put my brother onto this shit. I actually put my dad onto this shit. You know, like, I just played it in the car, and my dad was really enjoying it, and so was my brother. You started like a whole thing. And yeah, it's a really sweet album. I think it's really beautiful. At number 33, I have Sango with De Mim Pra Voce. I mistakenly called this album Spanish when it's actually Portuguese. I apologize. All the track titles and the album title is also Portuguese. That's sort of like the whole thing. It's like somewhat like an electronic sort of trap-influenced beat tape that's heavily inspired by Portuguese culture, I guess. And it has loads of like Portuguese samples and shit. It sounds like a fucking like fiesta or some shit. It's really, really fun, and it's just 16 tracks. None of the tracks go under 2 minutes. It's just fun beat after fun beat for 16 tracks. I heavily enjoyed it. Number 32 is the Underachievers with their jazziest, smoothest, most just beautifully produced album to date, Renaissance. I think out of all of their albums, this one honestly might have my favorite production. Evermore is probably the best overall project they have, but I don't know, man. Renaissance, these beats, pretty fucking good, man. It might just have the slight edge in regards to beats, but overall, it's a really sick hip-hop release from them. At number 31, I gotta thank Ryan again for this, because he put me on the Snow Allegra Feels, a really sweet pop R&B project with some solid features from like some rappers that you wouldn't expect to be super solid. And yeah, the beats are amazing. Her voice is excellent too. It's just a really likable album. Number 30, Toro y Moi with one of the most summery albums of the year. Like honestly, all summer. This came out like in June. Perfect timing, because holy shit, when the sun was shining and just, like listening to this album with like a good view or being at the beach, that shit would just be like perfect. These grooves, just the feel of this album is just so bright and happy, and it was just infectious. I just couldn't stop playing it during the summer. Number 29, Lunis with 360 or CCCLX, whatever you want to fucking call it. A pretty sweet, wonky, bouncy, hard electronic release. That I love the pristine production of this thing, and just the features all over are pretty solid too. Yeah, I just thought it was a damn solid album. You know, nothing really massively boundary pushing, but just for this sound, for this genre, which is one I do really enjoy, I thought it was just a likable release. Number 28, it is Phoebe Bridges with Stranger in the Alps. This album grew on me a little bit pretty recently. At first I was like, yeah, it's a pretty nice folk album, but yeah, her storytelling is just super human and captivating. It just really pulled me in, and ended up growing on me quite a bit. Yeah, this is really, really great in my opinion. Next up, however, it is number 27, Christian Scott Atunde Adjua with my jazz album of the year, Diaspora. This guy released like 3 albums this year, which is pretty crazy. My favorite of them had to have been this one. The first one was alright, this was the second one, it was great, and his newest one, The Emancipation Procrastination, is what it's called. That's pretty good too. It's pretty damn solid, some great jams on that thing, but overall Diaspora I think is just the grooviest, the most fun, the most replayable thing he's released this year. I really loved it. Next up, we got number 26, this is Mac DeMarco with This Old Dog. This is my first Mac DeMarco album, went back through his entire catalog, and I have deduced that this is the only great album here. I love this old. It's my favorite Mac DeMarco release. I think it's just beautiful front and back. I really nothing else to say. It's just Mac DeMarco doing Mac DeMarco, the best I think he's ever done it. Number 25, super underrated rap album. Super underrated. Underrated, and it's overlooked as well. I think both of those adjectives describe the Cool Kids new album, Special Edition, Grandmaster Deluxe. It's a little bit long, but do not be intimidated by the length. It is just a fun, catchy, likable, witty, and just playful rap album. These beats are just super creative and just weird. Like these beats, if you have an ear for the weird, you're gonna appreciate these beats. Like the samples and the little sound effects and shit, they just felt kind of odd. And these guys, they're just spitting and shit. Like, it's a very just kind of loose album. Like the bars are just funny, the references and shit. It just cracks me up. And the features are actually pretty decent too, especially from Sid and Jeremiah in the second half. The second half of the album is better than the first half. But Sid and Jeremiah, they really did a great job on their features, I think. And this is just overall a really likable release, in my opinion. Could have been trimmed down, but overall, good job, Cool Kids. Number 24, pure fucking brutality from Code Orange with the album Forever. In my opinion, the first great album that came out this year. It came out super early in the year, like in January. It was the first album I heard this year that I thought was just all around just awesome. And yeah, it's absolutely pummeling, it is brutal, it is insane, and I adore it. Moving on to number 23, another album that kind of grew on me. Initially, I thought it was good. I actually did record a review for this, but I never actually edited it or uploaded it. But I recorded one, but I never actually got around to like putting it up or anything, or like properly making it. Actress with A-Z-D or Azid, I think is how you're supposed to pronounce it. It's one of the most beautifully produced releases of the year. The textures on this thing, the sound play, it is orgasmic. This guy is a mastermind when it comes to production. The shit just sounds beautiful. Like front to back, the samples, the production is just so pristine and beautiful. Yeah, I just couldn't escape this album. I thought it was really great. It grew on me throughout the year. I just couldn't help but come back to it because I just love the sound of this album. It is just beautiful. Number 20, what are we at, 22? Oh fuck, here we go. Of course, okay, I might get a bit of hate for putting this on my list, but I don't care because I gave this album a really positive review. I love this. I think it's a really great album, but I do not condone the potential acts of the frontman. I know he had some like pretty dodgy allegations this year. Brand new science fiction. I think this is a really great album, and I do think that if you are looking for some emo music that is very just dark, patient, despondent and atmospheric, this is not an album that's going to strike you over the head immediately. You gotta spend time with it to really like, sort of like a Radiohead, a Moon Shaped Pool kind of thing, where like it's not really trying to get your attention ever, but if you just let it just consume you, you'll grow to really appreciate it. So I do recommend listening to this if you are looking for a very dark, despondent, emo, you know, album. But just please know that the lead frontman, Jesse Lacey, apparently he was accused of like sexually harassing a kid or something, which is kind of fucking horrible. So I'm not sure if that's been confirmed or if he's admitted to it or anything like that. I don't know if it's true or not, but I know that that allegation did happen. So yeah, I kind of feel bad for liking the album a little bit. But hey man, I think the music on this thing is great. But yeah, I know some people are pretty, you know, hesitant to support an album with these kind of things happening. So yeah, do know that going in. But at number 21, are we at 21? Fuck, I have to, hold on one second. Got to log back in because it went, you know, just, hold on.
20 minutes later. 6 hours later.
It just entered like sleep mode or some shit. I just had to lock back. Anyway, 21 though. Continuing in the theme of depressing albums, Mount Eerie with A Crow Looked at Me. That was like a solid like 2-week period where I just could not escape this album. Like it's just so unbelievably human to the point where I just felt like attached to it or some shit. So this album is all about death, and it's super dark and just really unsettling and just how real it is. The entire album you're hearing Phil Elverum, the frontman of Mount Eerie, and the mastermind behind the whole Mount Eerie project. He's sort of just mourning and reflecting on the loss of his wife that passed away like in 2016, I think. And it's just crushing. It's a really crushing album, but its execution is pretty much perfect for what it's going for. I sort of listened to this thing like a ton for like a good like 2-3 weeks. I did not really come back to it much because it is just such an unsettling listen, because this is not really an album you're supposed to enjoy. That's not the point, but for what it is going for, it is a beautifully crushing and powerful album that really left a huge impact on me, so it had to get a good spot on this list for sure. But now here we are, moving into the top 20. At number 20, it is another crushing album, but not really in the same way. End on with Through the Mirror. This thing is ridiculous. This thing makes nails look like fucking Carly Rae Jepsen. The most fast-paced and heavy album I've heard all year. But yeah, number 19, 2 Chainz. Pretty Girls Like Trap Music. In my opinion, trap's big highlight this year. I think this year has had some pretty damn good trap albums, if I do say so myself. But in my opinion, the crowning jewel among all of them has got to be this 2 Chainz album. I never knew 2 Chainz was capable of being this compelling for an entire album. Like, what the fuck? Beats are great, 2 Chainz is fun as hell, lyrics are hilarious at times, and the features are solid. It's just an all-around really good trap album. At number 18. Number 18 is Thundercat with Drunk. A lot of people think this album's just okay. Me? Hell no! There are days where I actually kind of think this might be better than the Golden Age of Apocalypse, honestly. I mean, it's not. Golden Age of Apocalypse is still his best album, but there are days where I think I might enjoy Drunk a tiny bit more. Just the scatterbrained, playful nature of it is just super infectious to me. And Thundercat's vocals, people complain about how there's the same the whole album. I love that, honestly. His voice perfectly fits these instrumentals. I think his voice is great, but still, really fun album, loved it. Number 17, Open Mike Eagle with his brilliantly conceptual Brick Body Kids, Still Daydream, the most personal, revealing, and powerful album I think he's come out with to date. The concept is very clever, as he's sort of talking about a a series of projects that got demolished in Chicago that he is very connected to, and he's sort of just kind of going down this downward spiral, just dissecting that whole situation in various creative ways. His lyrics are as witty and charming and as hilarious as always. His voice is just super humble and friendly, and the beats are as eclectic as they always are with an Open Mic Eco project. It's one of his best to date, I think, because the concept just seals the deal for me. I think it's a really well executed album, only 39 minutes long, pretty concise, just a damn solid rap release. If you're a rap fan, don't miss out on this. In my opinion, this is one of the most essential rap releases of the year. It's really great. Next up, though, I got number, what was it, 16? Yeah, 16. Pretty my favorite folk album of the year, I think. Let me just, yeah, this is number one. This is my favorite folk album of the year, and the glare is pissing me off. What is this? Of course, it's bright as shit, just like, you know, it always is. Fuck me. And yeah, there we go, that's better. Alright, cool. Number 16. Yeah, favorite folk album of the year, if you can really call it, fucking whatever. Alex G with Rocket. In my opinion, this is the most creative I've heard folk rock be in years. This shit is just weird. It's just such a weird experimental folk album that just really captivates me, you know. Like, I heard a lot of the singles that came out. I kind of like listened to all of them in sort of like an EP format. Like, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna just check out the Alex G singles, like all 5 of them that came out. I listened to all of them and I made like a playlist, made like a little EP thing. I just played some games and just, you know, through that little playlist EP thing in the background of all the singles to this album, I was just so like in love with it. I was like, when does this album come out? It was like 2 weeks away. I was like, holy fuck, these singles are tight, man. And I just heard the album, it came out and it did not disappoint me at all. And yeah, it's just filled with gems in my opinion. Really creative folk album. At times it's barely even folk at all. It's just weird, but I love it. At number 15, Kelly Lee Owens with her beautiful self-titled debut album. The production here is just super hypnotic and mesmerizing. Her vocals are just absolutely stunning at times, and I just think the overall just reverb soaked, just mesmerizing feel of it all just really captivates me. I think it's an excellent release this year. Looking forward to seeing where her career goes in the future. She did have a recent song, like a cover song of Aaliyah's More Than a Woman, and she destroyed that shit. That cover was amazing, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how she progresses in the future. Moving on to number 14, another rap album. This album, I don't know if it's just me, but this album just gets like better and better with every, like for real, like really, I know when people say that, it's like, oh, with every listen it gets better, but no, for real, for this one in particular, every listen just gets better. I don't know what it is, but I'm talking about Who Told You to Think by Milo. It's just me, but every listen I just get more in love with this thing. It's just so interesting. It's just such an interesting, intriguing album. Lyrically, it's just spellbinding. And the production, the way it's all just so like sort of disjointed but still really smooth and jazzy at the same time, it's just such a distinct style that Milo has just perfected in my opinion with this album. So The Flies Don't Come was fucking dope, but I think this one just tops it for me a little bit. You know, they're very similar albums, and I wouldn't argue with anyone saying they prefer one or the other, but for me, I think Who Told You to Think is a little bit better than So The Flies Don't Come, but my favorite Milo album will always be A Toothpaste Superb. I'm sorry. I just love the production. The approach to the beats on that album just really appealed to me. I just love that sound, and his lyrics were as funny as ever. I think they were really fucking cool. But yeah, that's my favorite Milo album still to this day. But yeah, Who Told You to Think is a close second. Next up, we have number 13, this album really snuck up on me. It's not a very well-known album. I did not review it. It's a very unknown album, but I just couldn't put it down. It just sort of ended up becoming one of my favorites of the year, just sort of out of the blue, seemingly. Routines by a band named Hoops. This thing is some sunny, bright, feel-good rock music. It's super catchy. The sun-kissed guitars and grooves all over this thing, they just put me in a good mood every time I hear it. It's like 11 tracks long, 32 minutes. It's just a really short, concise, likable rock album, and it is just smooth as fuck. If you're looking for some fun, catchy grooves, people in a good mood, this album has done that for me like all fucking year. Like, I just kind of dismissed it at first. It just kind of snuck up on me like, holy shit, I'm just playing this album like every fucking day. It just got to the point where I just couldn't put it down, and here it is at number 13. But at number 12, Lou the Human, Humaniac. One of the most twisted and just crazy and most lyrical albums of the year. This dude is like 21 years old. He has got a ton of potential. He clearly definitely derives a lot of influences from Eminem, but that's in no way a bad thing. I think he takes that style of rapping and does it in a very unique way. And the very rigid, robotic, and just evil sounding beats perfectly match his lyrics too. And his lyrics are just super compelling. And the whole like schizophrenic multiple voices in his head sort of thing that he tackles with in this album, I thought that was really well executed as well. All around just a super likable hip-hop release. And at number 11, St. Hawk, First Opus. I love this style of electronic music. If you've watched my videos for a while, that is not a surprise. Rusty, Sophie, Flume, all these motherfuckers that make this kind of bouncy, just fun, bright, happy, and wonky electronic music is just totally my shit. So hearing this album earlier this year was just such a huge delight. It just kind of came out of nowhere for me, and it was just every track was just a fucking fun, eclectic and creative banger, and just some really awesome ideas on this album, especially on songs like Nail Gun and Snowblind. Like a lot of inventive, creative production techniques and ideas appear all over this album. I thought it was really great. But here we are in the top 10, and holy shit, number 10 and number 9, I'm actually contemplating swapping them right now. I'm not sure if I should. I don't know. I was literally just listening to number 10, like, this morning, and yeah, it kind of grew on me a little bit. I think I might have to swap it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to swap it. Yeah, number 10 and number 10, you know, I don't have to actually change it. I could just read it differently. But yeah, number 10, it was number 9, but now it's number 10. Big K.r.i.t, Forever is a Mighty Long Time. One of the best double albums I've heard all fucking decade. Like, how the fuck do you make an album so fillerless when you have like 20 tracks? Like, there's probably like, what, 2, maybe 3 tracks that I'm not head over heels for. Like, all these songs are fucking dope. The choruses are great, production's great, features great, it's introspective, it's hard as fuck when it wants to be, and it's super smooth and soulful at the same time. Hell, even the commercial track that everyone fucking hates, 1999, I have honestly never really had that big of a problem with that track. I think it's pretty fucking smooth. Moving on to number 9. This was number 10, but I listened to it earlier this morning, and it just kind of grew me more and more. Again, just thinking about it, I was like, you know what, this album is really fucking awesome. I gotta put it at number 9. Tyler, Flower Boy. My favorite Tyler Creator album, yeah, I think it's pretty easily the best one he's done. It's just beautiful. It's just gorgeous. Production, gorgeous. Lyrics, gorgeous. Like, it features gorgeous. Like, everything is just so mature, sunny, beautiful. And again, this album, in my opinion, has not one filler track. There are tracks I enjoy less than others, sure, like See You Again. Wasn't a huge fan of that song, nor was I a huge fan of the second track. But the rest I think are really awesome, honestly. I've grown to love all the other tracks pretty much. But even those 2 tracks, even though they're my least favorite songs, in the context with the album, I don't skip them or anything. They're still pretty damn solid tracks. They sound lovely. Sonically, they are very pleasing overall. Yeah, I don't think there's a single misstep, really. I mean, shit, I think they all these tracks come together to create the enjoyable whole that is Flower Boy. Or Scumfuck Flower Boy, as I should have fucking called it. I like that name a lot more. I like the Scumfuck. But yeah, number 8, though, it is Sampha with Process. His voice is the best. His voice is the best. It's like the sickest fucking shit. Like, his voice is amazing. This album is super personal. It's super creative too. The production, I don't think people give enough credit to just how creative and awesome the beats are in this thing, especially on songs like Reverse Faults and Incomplete Kisses, as well as Chorus Sings especially. These beats are really fucking sick, and the stripped back more beautiful tracks like Take Me Inside and No One Knows Me Like the Piano, those tracks too are also really lovely in my opinion. I really like both of those songs. Take Me Inside being more of like an interlude kind of track though. It's not really like a full-length song like No One Knows Me is. I've still grown to love damn near every song here, and yeah, his voice and his lyrics are just gorgeous. And yeah, probably the best R&B album this year. I think there's another R&B album higher up in the list. No, there is not. This is definitely R&B album of the year for sure. But moving on to number 7. One of the darkest fucking things I think to have been released, honestly, all decade, really. Chelsea Wolf's Hispun. This is my favorite Chelsea Wolf album. It's the least diverse Chelsea Wolf album, sure, but honestly, every time a Chelsea Wolf album has come out, I'm like, okay, my favorite tracks are the one where she's embracing that sort of doom metal, kind of aggressive, like, holy fuck, this is dark kind of sound. Like on Abyss, like Iron Moon, like tracks like that, those are the tracks that really stuck out to me on previous Chelsea Wolf albums. And guess what she does on Hispun? She makes a whole album like that. How could this not be my favorite Chelsea Wolf album? It's just fucking awesome. The hooks are fucking terrifying. Every chorus just creeps me out. It gives me fucking chills. Her vocals are as just gloomy as ever, and the production from Kurt Ballou is destructive. I'm head over heels for this thing. All of my favorite parts and aspects of every previous Chelsea Wolf album shows up on this album, like full frontal, like full on. It's just 100% everything I love about Chelsea Wolf for an entire album, and I thought it was great. And here we are. No, we're not in the top 5 just yet. Number 6, Blank Mass, World of You. My second favorite electronic album of the year. It is absolutely insane. It's fucking crazy. This album, like I said in my mid-year list, let me just paint the picture. This whole album sounds like you're running for your life. That's what the whole thing sounds like. You're just running for your life. That's what this album makes me feel like I'm doing. Like I could just be sitting here, just politely, just quaintly, just sitting here, you know, just doing nothing. Listening to this album, I will feel like I'm on the most intense chase I've ever been. Like it is just so pummeling and ferocious. I adore it. Yeah, I also really love the way this album begins. Like, the opening track has that, like, looped sample thing, and then it just, like, switches up. It just puts you in, like, a trance. Like, okay, what's really going on here? And then just transitions, just bursts in with that second track. I love the way it kicks off. It's just like everything's going fine. There's a little loop, and then it just like gets all crazy, and then the second track comes. It's just such a really, just like holy shit start to the album. I think it's really cool. But yeah, the whole thing though, I fucking love it. So yeah, now we're in the top 5. These are my 5. Well, technically 6. Technically, yeah. I think you know why. I reckon you can guess why I just said that. But yeah, number 5 though is gonna go to Damn by Kendrick Lamar. Yeah, I thought this was really cool to hear him take a direction like this with this album. I thought it was interesting because, you know, Good Kid, Mad City, he's telling sort of like his life story on now how he grew up and all that. You know, telling that very cinematic story of his life in Compton and shit. And then onto Double Butterfly, we're getting like a very heady, like dense, like politically charged, like very like a strong album with a huge message. Like he's trying to get across a message. He's told his life story. He's got this message he felt he needed to get across with To Love a Butterfly. Where could he go next? And I'm really happy he did this. He was just creative. He just made a rap album. Had some radio hits, had some very creative experimental tracks, had some fucking hard bangers. He just made a really just inventive, thrilling, and exciting and creative rap release, in my opinion. The flow of this album is the most just animalistic it's ever been. Every time I hear this album, it's just so exciting. Like every track is just such a new thing. It's just always switching from one idea to the next. It's just so, like, Damn is so appropriate. Like it's just so like direct and just like, fuck yeah, like damn. Like it's just so in your face, you know? And the way it just takes you from like Blood, that little intro, to DNA, and then back to Yar, and then to Element. It's just the flow of it is just really unique, I think. It's purposely very all over the place. And I think I would like to I personally would not be against hearing future Kendrick albums sound like this. Like it's just him just making some rap songs. Like and sometimes they'll be very slow and insightful, like Pride and Feel. Or sometimes they'll be crazy, like Triple X. Sometimes they'll be poppy, like Loyalty. He takes you everywhere, and the storytelling and the little concepts weaved in, like the wickedness, weakness thing, the ain't nobody praying for me mantra, and the way that ties into the lyrics. There's a lot of depth here too, and with repeated listens, there is a lot to uncover. I think it's his most replayable album as well. It's actually grown to be my personal second favorite Kendrick release. I just really, really enjoy it. Damn is just so replayable and so exciting to me. It's just more refreshing and creative, in my opinion. It takes that number 2 spot before Triple Butterfly, of course, being my favorite. But still, love this album. It's at number 5. But speaking of creative hip-hop, at number 4, we got Vince fucking Staples, bro. Big Fish Theory. This album is an absolute roller coaster. The sound he went on. I love how Vince Staples, with every project, whether it be EP or mixtape or album, he's always tackling something new. Like Hell Can Wait sounds different to Summertime '06, which sounds different to Prima Donna, and none of those albums sound anything like Big Fish Theory. And the sound he decided to go with on this one, I thought was hugely appealing. The bass and the synths and just these samples and sound effects are just so radiant and just pummeling, and it's just so exciting to me. I think Vince is a very versatile rapper who can tackle a lot of different styles of production, and he just perfectly worked on these beats to me. Like the way he was rapping wasn't very technical, but I think he sort of catered his voice very carefully to each beat. Like on songs like Homage and Samo and Yeah Right and 7.5, as well as Big Fish, like he raps very interestingly on this album. It's never really trying to get your attention, but I feel like that's the point. And the features that pop up on this thing are pretty solid too. I personally think Tidal Sign does a great job on Rain Come Down. I love Kendrick's appearance on Yeah Right. Kilo Kish and Ray J and Damon Albarn and all the other people that just kind of pop up throughout the album. I think they all just add a lot of flavor to it, and just the overall flow of it is just so like exciting, and it's just very weird. It does kind of feel like Vince's Yeezus. Even though I do still kind of enjoy Yeezus, you know, I appreciate how exciting of an album it is and how unpredictable and unhinged it is, but Big Fish Theory I think just pulls it off better. Yeah, the beats in this thing just blow my mind. I just love all these beats. Every beat on this thing is just fucking awesome. So yeah, huge fan of this album, replayed it all throughout the year. I dislike nothing. I honestly, every track in my opinion is at least great. For all of these, so I just love them all. I think they're all fucking great. But yeah, moving on to number 3! Brockhampton with Saturation 2 and Saturation 3. I had to. Okay, I couldn't not put them in the same spot, bro. Because the one I prefer, it changes all the time. Right now, I'd probably say my favorite is 2 if I had to pick right now, but tomorrow it could be 3. Like yesterday it was fucking 3, and now it's the amount I enjoy these 2 albums, the level of quality and enjoyment I get from them is just so equal to the point where I may as well just put them in the same spot. And as you know, Saturation 1 I've never been crazy for, and with every listen I dislike it more and more, honestly. Just compared to 2 and 3, to me it's just so clearly weaker to me. Like to me it's just blatantly, obviously not as enjoyable as 2 and 3, but that's just me. I know a lot of people feel differently, but it's just fine. But yeah, 2 and 3, they're all fucking awesome. Like the hooks, all over these two albums are stellar. The beats are ridiculously fun and inventive and detailed. All the members just shine through at some point on both of these albums, which was not the case on one. Let me just... yeah, these are just probably two of the most creative rap albums this year. Yeah, they're my two favorite rap albums this year. Saturation 2 and Saturation 3. Which one I like more? It changes all the fucking... I like them both equally, but if I had to pick one, right now I'd probably say 2. But 3 is amazing. Like, I love them both. I think they're both amazing. But yeah, moving on to the top 2. At number 2, I have an album that completely just opened my mind. Igloo Ghost, Neo Wax Boy. This thing is not from this planet. It is it's ridiculous. The production blows my mind. How this is possible, I don't know. Like, this guy has seriously come across, he has sussed out some insane method to production that he has just mastered on this album. This crazy idea he's come up with. Like, I call Big Fish Theory a roller coaster. Like, this is the most insane roller coaster. Like, this shit is wild. There's so much going on in every track. It is absolutely baffling how he pulled this off. And I adore it. Like, this is just something I admire. Like, I want to be able to pull something like this off one day. Like, this is like with my production and shit. Like, I make beats too. From time to time, I make music as well, you know. And I want to be able to have the capability to pull something like this off. I'm not saying I want to mimic what he's doing or anything. I just like. It sounds like Igloo Ghost can just conjure any fucking sound. Like, how is he doing this? When I listen to dudes like Arca and Igloo Ghost and fucking like these, you know, experimental producers like Flying Lotus and shit, I'm just like, how are they pulling off these sounds? It's like they can just think of a noise and it just appears. Like, what the fuck? And that shit, it's just awesome. It's just fucking awesome. Like, this is super creative and I adore it. But my album of the year, my number 1 favorite album of the year, is the same as Tyler Creator's actually, which is kind of funny. King Cruel, The Ooze, yeah. This is my favorite album this year. I think I derived the most enjoyment from this album than any other this year. It is gorgeous. The sound of this album I just think it's beautiful. Like, it's just so pristine, but not in a very like crisp way. Like, everything is very purposeful, I think, on this album. Everything feels really intentional to me, you know, like all the little sounds and the way the tracks just fade into one another, and everything just feels really purposeful. It's all just like a world. It feels like a world. Like, the Ooze is just some grimy just place that you're just like relishing in when you hear this album. It's really awesome. King Cruel just creates such an amazing atmosphere from the instrumentation, which is really brittle and thin and vulnerable, but it's simultaneously very rich and layered and gorgeous. His voice, it is just gravelly. I just love the growl of his voice when he goes all deep and when he starts freaking out. Like, the vocal freakouts on this album don't come off like they did on 6 Feet Beneath the Moon. Like, on that album, there were times where he would just go wild on the mic because it just sounds really cool. It's just really fun and explosive. Whereas every time he goes crazy vocally on the Ooze, it sounds like it's because he's troubled. Like, there's something wrong going on with his head or some shit. Like, he sounds like he's struggling to, like, exist. Like on Slush Puppy or Half Man Half Shark or Dumb Surfer, like, those tracks, he just sounds so, like, destroyed psychologically, you know. It sounds like it's a really cerebral album. It all sounds so personal and just so beautiful, and the jazz influences too all over the album are just gorgeous. It's got some of the most amazing music I've heard all year. I just think it's such a brilliant, holistic album experience. It just fucking grows on me it's a real grower. I know some people who weren't into it at first, but they kind of sat with it for a bit and they just sort of started to appreciate it. It is a real grower. For me, you know, that was the same thing actually. First couple listens, I was just kind of getting to grips with it, but on the 3rd or 4th listen, I just became obsessed with this album, and it just became my favorite of the year. One of my favorite intro tracks as well to any album that released this year with Biscuit Town. A really fucking excellent start to the project. And yeah, it's just killer track after killer track. I love this thing. I think lyrically, it's poetic and beautiful as well. I just love this. And yeah, King Cruel, you've become one of my favorite artists this year because I had no clue who you were last year. I had barely even heard of you before I heard The Ooze. The Ooze was my introduction to King Cruel, and it just blew me away. Went back and listened to 6 Feet Beneath the Moon. That album is also fucking excellent. And yeah, I'm a huge fan of his stuff. I think his sound is really great. This album seriously resonated with me this year. It is my pick for Album of the Year 2017. That is my list. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the list. I thought you thought it was a good list. What was your list? If you're upset that one of your favorite albums didn't make this list, then hey man, that is absolutely fine. It's just opinions and shit. Go ahead. Tell me what you would put on your list this year. What albums did you like? I don't give a shit. If it could be anything, all opinions are welcome here. Thanks for watching the list again. Yeah, see you on the best tracks of the year list, which will be coming very soon. Bye!